Oshi no Ko is the greatest anime of all time for at least another 2 weeks before nuclear warfare takes shape, and with a season this fucking stacked, it was absolutely insane to see a show break away from the pack like this with just a single episode. So naturally I and many other people were curious what they could have possibly accomplished in only 20 minutes. Oh, so this is a whole ass movie premiere. But let's take it from the top. Oshi no Ko follows Goro Amemiya, a gynecologist obsessed with the idol Ai Hoshino. We learn early on that this obsession isn't just because he's, the fucking loser, but rather a projection of a young cancer patient's aspirations onto an idol that would then walk down that very path. Serena Tendoji was that cancer patient. She was a young girl who was suffering from what is, in essence, a brain tumor. She was the original obsessed Ai Hoshino fan, but due to her condition, her only real dream ended up being to be reborn into a better life. And with that, she would pass in the hospital 4 years prior to the events that take place in the show. Anyways, Ai Hoshino shows up to be this guy's next patient, in secret. You see, Ai Hoshino had gone on hiatus several weeks prior because she had gotten a little bit lost in the sauce, if you know what I mean. She arrives at this countryside hospital incognito so the public doesn't find out she is pregnant with twin children. This fails miserably. Anyway, after she and Goro talk at the top of the hospital for a little bit, Goro announces his newfound resolve to help her deliver her babies, so to do his job. Good shit, dude. But little did he know that he just fucking lied to her face. You see, Goro is what we in the industry refer to as a casual idol fan. Sure, he was an Ai Hoshino enjoyer, but his obsession was secondhand, whereas the competitive idol stalker had been in the game for presumably years now, and would go on to make quick work of Goro in a simple battle of wits. And with that, Goro would slowly but surely pass on from this world, leaving Ai Hoshino alone the night she had to— wait, what the fuck? Turns out these two Weenie Hut Juniors got to be reborn after all, as the children of the idol they both obsessed over. This is weird, but I'll get to that. Aqua and Ruby are Ai Hoshino's children, as well as the reincarnations of Goro Amemiya, and as luck would have it, Serena Tendoji. Now they don't know who each other are yet, and don't even really bother talking about their past life for whatever reason, but they're able to recall memories of it and even retain previous beliefs, ambitions, and even habits. It's from this point that we get a much more intimate glimpse into the life and career of Ai Hoshino as her career grows alongside Aqua and Ruby. This is the premise that Oshi no Ko builds upon, and it is fucking weird, it is as weird as it sounds. I can already tell this will be the main point of contention for a lot of people, and for good reason. It's already a strange premise, and the anime plays it up even further through Ruby and Aqua, the most sane Ai Hoshino fans. For roughly the first 25 minutes of this episode, these two are still the same overly obsessed idol fans, be it their past or present lives. This is some cringe shit. As of recording this, I've been trying to get my friend to watch it for the past 2 or 3 days now, and they refuse simply because they don't like the synopsis. Personally, I didn't really care, but I also have a highly refined palate for dog shit story concepts. If you do have things such as self-respect or a flourishing social life, then I would probably avoid showing or talking about this anime with most people. But in spite of everything I just said, I'd still urge anyone interested to give this show a try because it really is only up from here. Suddenly the stage lights up alongside the art and animation. As the story progresses, the characters grow and become more and more not fucking weird. This is where Oshi no Ko really begins to find its footing. Characters. The show immediately takes a deeper dive into the entertainment industry where Oshi no Ko reaffirms what most people already know. This place fucking sucks. Everyone here is a fucking weasel, only working with their own self-interest in mind. Even Ai, the star of the show, is working under an ideology shrouded in lies. Billie Jean. Half of her dialogue even sounds like part of a psychotic supervillain's monologue. And in the end, they made this the most endearing character in the show. Thanks to her manager, Ai gains this very unusual perspective that lying is, in its own way, an idol's form of love. She decides with that in mind that she will lie over and over with the hope that one day that lie becomes the truth. Get it, Billie Jean? And yet, in spite of this, Ai still comes off as one of the more genuine characters in the show. There isn't really any malintent behind her actions. She isn't thinking solely about becoming a world-class idol by any means necessary. She's here because she wants to experience love, be it for herself, her fans, or most importantly, for her 2 children. This is the hill Ai is choosing to die on, and I think it's that resolve and acceptance that makes her such an authentic character in my opinion. It's fairly obvious that Ai loves Aqua and Ruby, but it isn't until the show digs deeper into her story that you start to understand what that really means to her. Ruby, for example. She starts off as a Twitter user, which is bad enough, but somehow before that she was a cancer patient and now she keeps on falling over and you are laughing. Ruby just keeps falling over while trying to dance and you're laughing. Ruby's past had caught up to her here, and it's in this moment when she's on her last legs, literally, that we see Ai Hoshino step up for her in a way that no one else really could. Ai offers Ruby words of encouragement both as a mother as well as a mentor, and not because she somehow knows about the past life Ruby had to deal with, but because she wants to be there for her, as present in her kids' lives as she can possibly be. Just little did she know that this was more than Ruby could ever ask for, even reigniting her ambition to one day become an idol. This is who Ai Hoshino is. However deceitfully or disingenuously as she may describe herself, it's this heart of gold that shines through and really cements Ai as such an overwhelming and positive presence in Oshi no Ko. She is the star of the show and the guiding star to the children she loves. If you haven't seen episode 1 by now, how did you make it this far in the video? Go watch it, get away from me. But if you've already seen it or you just don't care, then well, you've been warned. We see Ai in a new apartment when she is greeted by her #1 fan. For real this time, not these two boneheads. And it's when she's visited by this fan that she almost immediately has a revelation of what it is she'd come to love in this life. These two boneheads. It's a fleeting yet sweet moment where she recalls all the time she's spent with Aqua and Ruby, until we get to see just why she suddenly had such a vision. And it's not just because this guy came by to say hi. Suddenly this heartwarming and sweet moment becomes a little bit sour. But Ai's death is a gruesome and chaotic scene. Why the hell is this guy here? How did he get here? Are Aqua and Ruby next? Why is Ai still lying to this guy? Is she lying to this guy? So many thoughts and questions are shoved to the forefront of your mind. It's a climax that you really feel every second of. The tension in the air is suffocating, and it's almost impossible to tell just what is going to happen next. I like to think that what Ai says here is true. It's hard to imagine because she'd just been stabbed, but this was a moment where I was fully expecting Ai to finally break, to reveal that she had always and will continue to resent her fans. But she doesn't. She instead gives the competitive idol stalker a smile as she reveals that she remembers his name. She held on to his gift and explains that what she'd done was her own way of expressing love to her fans. It's pretty easy to write this off as just another of her performances, but even still, this is the moment where, at least for Ruby and Aqua, her life finally becomes the truth. She tells Aqua and Ruby that she loves them one last time and confirms with herself that it wasn't a lie after all before dying with Aqua in her arms, the light in her eyes fading away. The animation, art, voice acting, soundtrack. This was a stellar climax and one of the biggest contributing factors to Oshi no Ko's skyrocketing through the ranks of MyAnimeList. But there was one more factor that would push Oshi no Ko into the #1 spot for weeks to come. And it's called a motherfucking cliffhanger, baby! I already mentioned the impact Ai had on Ruby's life, but Aqua never really went through that same arc as her. Aqua was kind of a special case here in that he was already content. His life goal had pretty much become watching Ai become the greatest entertainer of all time. And when her career was cut short, Aqua had lost his only reason to live. It's still kinda weird, isn't it? The man behind the slaughter had already done himself in, but Aqua quickly realized that there was another party at play. That there was no reason for the competitive idol stalker to know where Ai had just recently moved to. With that in mind, he concludes that the only one that could have possibly slipped him that kind of information was his father, Ai Hoshino's former boyfriend. And with any and all remaining ambition snuffed out of his life, the only remaining conclusion Aqua can come to is to hunt down and murder the man responsible for the death of his livelihood. Still weird. Blood relative or not, Aqua has no intention of bestowing clemency on the man responsible for the death of Ai Hoshino.
Never heard of it.
Oshi no Ko skyrocketed to the #1 spot on MyAnimeList in just a single episode, and it's not hard to see why. It was a great movie with plenty of twists and turns that sets up the show about as well as you could possibly ask for. It's an episode that deserves to be watched completely blind from beginning to end, and it absolutely deserves the rank 1 spot on MyAnimeList, is what I'd like to say. But putting the weird fucking premise aside, this is just a prologue. It was a great story and a great ride, but I don't think it should be rank 1 simply because it's a show that deserves to have its story told to the fullest, from beginning to end. Only then will we know for sure if Oshi no Ko really is the greatest anime of all time. But all that isn't to say that Oshi no Ko isn't a great anime so far. It is one of my favorite anime airing this season. I left out a lot of content and context in this video, but I really do believe this is a show that deserves to be experienced firsthand. It has done a fantastic job so far, and I already know that we are going to be in for a wild ride. Also, I was right. I said it was going to drop below rank 1 after another 2 weeks at least, and then it has been 3 weeks. I've been making this video for 3 weeks. It's a long story. Okay, I'm not going to get behind that. Point is, I was right.